Hey, all the recording is in progress.
I
Jacob,
wasn't gonna do it.
Jacob, the recording's in progress.
No, this is breaking character. We say it to the people.
Oh, I'm new here. I'm gonna say to Jacob.
Okay. Not my fault.
He needs to be initiated, is what he's saying.
Yeah. Welcome to another episode of Breaking Character. I have no idea how we're gonna, send these out, so this may even just be the first one, I don't know.
Who knows?
Who knows? So, we are here to talk about just random things about D&D in general, about the podcast sometimes, about past games and our experience as D&D players and DMs, and whatever. And today we have a topic, but first we are joined with Jacob, of course.
I'm sick.
Yes, Jacob is sick. We have Krista.
Hello.
Krista is not sick, which is
I'm
good.
not sick. I have a tad of existential dread, but I am not sick.
Anxiety's like kind of sick.
Yeah, I guess so.
And we also have Wade, who will be joining us in season 2.
Hello. I am also not sick, nor do I have existential dread.
Hey, that makes one of us.
He's
Seems
just sick in the
unfair.
radical. He's like sick in the radical way. Like he's gnarly.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever been accused of that.
Having DM'd you for the Halloween one shot, yeah. If that was you in high school, yeah, okay. I can see it. Like that was also me in high school, so like I get it.
I don't think that was me. I would like to think that wasn't me in high school.
I'm gonna bike
I don't know.
3 hours one way.
I don't want to say like had my shit together more than that guy did.
Okay, that's fair.
I feel like I had less like things happen around me just because I was very boring and didn't do a whole lot.
Being boring and not doing a whole lot is true.
Yeah.
Same. When I'm not doing D&D stuff, I'm just in the other room on my phone watching TikTok or YouTube videos. So, I guess we should start talking about the reason that we're all
Oh, you
recording.
think so?
I mean, we can just talk. It's fine. So tonight I think we're calling it Web, not like WebMD. Although that would have been funny.
True.
I'm whipping.
Y'all. So
Wait.
we're talking about some sticky places that we've found ourselves in, or that we've found our parties in.
Or put
And-
your DM in.
Yeah, and how we got out of it, that sort of thing.
Should we lay any ground rules?
I don't know.
Don't hit the face. Don't hit the erogenous zones.
No kidney punches.
Basically, body shots only, please.
Love body shots.
I don't. Depending on who you're taking them off of, you might get a mouthful of something you don't want.
Lint.
That too.
I don't know what.
I was thinking
It's a
body
lot of
hair, but
getting
yes.
a mouthful.
I'm trying to remember. Have I taken a body shot off of you, Justin?
I know other people have.
This has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
It was a
I
sticky
mean,
situation.
I was in a sticky place afterwards.
You
Oh,
legit, and I hate it.
Okay. Anyway, who would like to start? Because I got one that started because of another person in this call.
Me?
Yes, it was you.
Yeah,
Hi.
I figured.
I'm the problem. It's me.
Whoops. Yeah, how about you start with that story?
Okay. So this isn't this is a past campaign. This was the first campaign that all of us minus Wade wasn't in the picture at the time. All of us were playing together, which was my home game. And in that game, we had a 1 second. Water went down the wrong pipe like 10 minutes ago, and I'm still clearing my throat from it.
Right?
Anyway, yeah. Anywho, so yeah, the game was kind of designed basically around, because this was my first ever campaign, my first ever time DMing rather, and I wanted to do something kind of simple, so I did basically a Star Wars thing, but fantasy Star Wars, where you are part of like the rebels trying to overthrow a corrupt empire. And after like maybe probably like 2 or 3 months of playing together, and we got everyone to a point where they had just taken their technically their second. It was supposed to be their first, but another player wanted to take over a different place, but they took over their first like major town city thing. I think it was a town. It used to be a city, but then a dragon attacked and like burnt down most of it, and lore stuff that doesn't matter. And so they took over this town city. It was called Asheville or Ashvale, something like that. And everyone in the party, they were a major part of why they won the day, and they were celebrating, and they all got drunk, and then somebody, I'm not gonna name names, Krista,
Technically, it was Karen.
it was Krista doing it.
Well, no, because
Yes.
remember, Krista's
Yes,
character
I
thing
understand.
about
Oh, I
was
think you
her.
remember.
I remember. I'm pretty sure we've already talked about why Krista was playing a character named Karen. But if we don't, we can rehash that. Karen was supposed to be playing with us, but then couldn't, dropped out, and then Krista said that she could, and then joined up. And instead of having Krista, who had never played before, I think you hadn't played before.
Very little.
Okay, I'll recant that. Krista, instead of asking Krista to make their own character, I said, "Hey, we already have this one. It was supposed to be for, it was like tailor made for Karen, and so I had just like named them Karen because that was who was going to play it. And then once Karen took the character over, she could rename the character. And Krista just took the character and said, "Well, his name's Karen."
Seems like a name.
Yep.
Also, he was Terry Crews in
Yes.
Suit of Armor.
Also, Karen was a man.
Yes, Terry Crews in a suit of armor.
So yeah. Anyway, Terry Crews in Suit of Armor got drunk
Crews.
and said loudly to everyone, "I want bagpipes," and then proceeded to ask me where the nearest set of bagpipes were. I was like,
Yes.
what? So the sticky situation was basically an entire episode, because it started with them getting drunk and then ended with a 3-day long travel to a city that, wasn't the capital, just in case, they thought they could get into that at the time. A city that was like outside of the sphere of this country that they were trying to overthrow. Basically, I don't even think it ended with you getting bagpipes, but that turned into like a three or 4 session long arc in this random city that I had never planned because I didn't think that anyone would want to go there. I guess what happened was I started to trust my like improv skills a little bit more, or at least I had to use improv skills.
Right, but also I rolled really well on the bagpipes, if you recall.
I remember you getting all the bagpipes.
You
That
got
turned
like
into Solid
7
Snake.
bagpipes, and then you left 6 of them behind.
Yeah, I think
I
some of
did,
them caught
but
on
I
fire.
rolled really well using them. For an
Oh,
Eldritch
yes.
Knight, I was doing so well using
Yes.
the bagpipes.
Yes. So yeah, that has turned into kind of a saying around at least Jacob and I when something is like just out of left field, we just talk about bagpipes for a little bit.
Yeah,
You know, but yeah, the
you're
sticky
all welcome.
situation was really trying to get the party back onto. I mean, like they could have kept doing whatever they wanted to do, but I wanted to bring in the elements again of the theme of what we were trying, what I was hoping would happen,
Whoops.
and so that turned into like its own mini arc with an assassination attempt, not on the party but on one of the nobles of that city, and ended it with Jacob removing one of his characters and playing a different one.
Well, yeah, I
Yep.
was just saying, I was Garrick when that
Yep.
started, right?
Yep, you
Okay.
were
Yes.
you were the ranger, and then this was like when 5e had not had just come out, but was the only
When Ranger sucked pretty bad.
when ranger was super undertuned.
Yeah.
They have since fixed it, I think, or they have
Pretty much.
they've
I've never played
fixed
a ranger.
I will
have
I will say basically from like in my mind from Xanathar's forward, the
yeah
Ranger became just better because of the options that Xanathar presented as like for the subclasses.
yeah, and
And
that
then
really helped.
Tasha's improved upon it with the optional features.
Yeah,
Yes, for sure improved upon, but they at least became like more enjoyable to just play beforehand with like the other subclasses and Tasha's.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, my I guess sticky situation was trying to, not that it was like fully derailed, but trying to get everyone to remember, hey, you've just left like your entire rebellion to chill in this place for this week that you've been away.
Yep.
Do you want to do anything about that, or are you just gonna like let them get, you know, just keep doing what they're doing? Like what's going on?
Sometimes you just have to leave your rebellion behind.
Sometimes, yep.
You just need to let it go. Sometimes rebellions are like an arm and you just need to cut it off.
Yeah.
Ahaha.
And that did lead into what I thought was like a kind of cool series or session or couple sessions where upon coming back you found out that some of the leaders of the rebellion that you were like helping out were taken and like imprisoned,
Yeah,
and you had to
there
do
were
it.
consequences to our actions.
Yeah. And you had a cool breakout sequence
Yes.
that I think that's also around the time that I introduced the what was it, the door knocker?
Yes, we ruined that, unfortunately. Well, we didn't
No.
ruin it, but it ruined
It's a
your
great
dungeon.
Oh no, I mean I did that to get you into the city or try to get you into the city.
Right, but I remember, if I remember correctly, it as like there was a whole dungeon we could have gone through, and
Mhm.
essentially we stuck it to a wall and went into like the end of the dungeon.
Yeah. And that was bad on my part. I should have had it facing a different way so you couldn't like immediately just get to the last room.
Wait,
But hey,
the door knocker is a legacy item though, isn't it? We've put that in other games, haven't we?
So it was
I think
first
so.
introduced to me by one of the DMs that we don't talk about anymore, because they did something that we don't like. I don't know if we had played any other games. Like I don't
I
think.
meant after.
Oh,
I think
after.
I think we played it in the I don't want to say anybody's name that isn't part of this podcast, like part of this group. So,
Hmm.
um, but
In the
when I
one
played
where I
that,
was Karthus. That one.
no,
And the pirate one?
Oh no, not the pirate one. Talking about my ex.
Oh.
Oh no, no, yeah, Jacob. That is the person that I was talking about. Yes, Jacob has
okay,
messaged me with a name.
all right. No, when I was talking about door knocker, I was pretty sure, like when
Yeah,
I
they were the
the guys
ones
we
who
played.
gave it to at least me or my a party like my first time playing as D&D in general.
Yeah, but
They
no,
were the DM.
what I was gonna say when we were playing, um, when you were playing your monk and I was playing Bardus,
Hmm.
that game had a door knocker in it at 1.2, didn't it?
Maybe I don't
Well,
remember.
it's such a handy little tool. I love it when people invent or find such handy little tools.
Yeah, and
Well,
it's fun because it's like it is a mundane-ish item, and
Yeah,
like it. I don't know if this is like if there are rules for it. I don't know. I don't know if it was a real item or if it's just something that someone made up at one point. Uh,
right.
but it
I made the
like
stat for it for the index.
oh that's good. When you hit it, like it sounds very loudly, so it's not like a stealth thing. It's like a I'm getting through here thing.
Yeah,
Then again, if someone just casts silence, it can't sound outside of the set of it. But you know,
Yeah,
that's
it's like
true.
the concept of the door knocker is that you just put the knocker on a door,
mhm.
you knock it, and it
Not
makes
on a
No,
door,
not on a door, on a wall,
a
on a
wall,
floor.
anywhere.
Yep,
and it makes a door.
yep.
Because yeah, there definitely wasn't a door at the back of the end of Justin's dungeon.
No, there was. Yeah, there was a wall.
Speaking of doors and
Mhm.
sticky situations, Justin,
Hi,
when Gordon's character, I know I
Huron.
just said these people's names, but um, when we were fighting Tiamat in the Five Hells,
Yep.
Oh, yes,
Oh, that's
very good.
right. No,
the
no,
men
that
That was an
that
excellent
wasn't a door
situation.
knocker. That
no,
was
he dimension doored inside Tiamat.
yeah. Oh yeah, like
It was
Gordon.
essentially that Ant-Man type of scenario.
Yes.
Okay, but now that Invincible season 2 has come out, we have realized that is a very bad idea.
Well, yeah.
You
Why?
don't. You, okay, so there's a scene in Invincible season 2. I know this is a little bit of a tangent, but trust me, makes
This whole
sense.
thing is a tangent, Jacob.
Yeah, that's what breaking character is. It's just us going on a tangent about
Okay,
kind of a theme.
so there's a character named Shrinking Ray, and
Okay,
they shrink. They're basically Ant-Man.
sure.
Anyways, there is a part where they go in like the newest season of Invincible where they go into this enemy's wound, right? And they shrink,
Yeah,
they get inside, and then they start expanding. But
yeah.
the force of the person's muscles from the inside like squishes the person while they're growing and basically like breaks all of the bones of the
I don't
person
know
who's
that that
inside.
would work, but I loved it. It's one of my favorite moments of something someone decided to do.
Yes. So Huron was the name of his dwarf, and Huron had thrown me for like 3 or 4 different loops during that campaign, and
Yes.
I was very thankful and very happy about it. So like when he dimension doored a demon like 500 feet in the air, and then I had him roll a few athletics checks to basically to make sure that he could hold on to them, and then to make sure that they are positioned under him so he like his fall is broken by them to not do full damage. That was I think I for that one spell I uncapped fall damage because I think 20 d6 is the max, but I did 25 d6 or something. I did a lot of d6s. I had to roll like 3 or 4 times and then count them all and to have a tally. Because that was back when we were playing in person, way before COVID and all that, and then we switched to
Oh,
online
yes.
stuff. Yeah, we rolled so much damage, and he took a quarter of it, while the demon took 3 quarters of it because he managed to pass every single athletics. That was fun. I like making rulings like that on the fly. That kind of creativity is something that I really enjoy seeing.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I think
That was
it's
one of my
more fun.
Yeah, that was one of my sticky situations. I'll start while you guys talk. I will about your own. I will start trying to think of one that Corbin might have had to at least like bring it back towards the podcast.
Sure, I guess. Wade, do you have any from campaigns that we haven't been in together?
I don't know. I'm
Because
trying to think.
Justin and Jacob and I might know all of each other's stories.
I mean,
Well,
we can
I
still
don't
share
have.
the stories we all know.
I know, but it would be interesting if we could hear ones we haven't heard.
I don't know. I don't really. I can't think of any sticky situations I got myself in. Really, like name my characters into. I can think of my friend Andrew getting himself into a sticky situation through me by without thinking about it, like unintentionally. So he has this thing he does where every now and then on our travels we come across like these shops, and he likes to do this thing where he'll pull up tables of like D1, like a D100 table that someone on the internet has made or something, where it's like pay like a crazy amount of money, and you could get something stupid that's like a book that is just a regular ass book, and you spend all the gold you've collected on it. But you can also, on occasion, get something good. And so, being one for the chaos, I partook in one of these things, and I can't remember what it's called. It's like the Blood Fury tattoo or something like that. That's something like that's. I don't even know if it's like a real like D&D made thing, like Wizard of the Coast made thing, or if it was like a custom thing. But the rules are on the internet, and he sent them to me. And the unfortunate reality that he has now put himself into when we do play is that he has given this ability to a ranged weapon fighter. So it has an ability that lets me regain hit points based on expending a charge and like doing extra necrotic damage to the attacks. And just like the first time he watched me use it in combat after he gave it to me, he had this just look on his face of like, what have I done? He just has like he has no way to kill me essentially, and at least that's how it feels. And like
Nice.
I don't even have to be near the people to hit them with this thing. And he's just like it was so demoralizing for him, I think, the first time he realized what had happened. I probably could have explained that much better, but I'm trying to remember it from memory. It's been a while since I've played that campaign.
I understood it at least. Having never played that campaign or know of what a blood fury tattoo is or anything like that, I think
You're
it makes
essentially
sense.
unkillable, I
Yeah.
think
Well,
is what
yeah.
you meant.
Having given people much more powerful
Oh
items,
yeah. You
probably
should talk
should
about
have.
that, Jacob.
I've definitely had to put myself in situations as a DM where I had to then find a way to nerf it
Yeah.
or take the items away somehow. So I in the campaign before this, the Chivalry Isles, where I played with which was basically the reason why we started doing this podcast, is because
Yeah.
I enjoyed doing that, so like playing that game so much that we're like, we should record this. Why not? Because it's funny because that was the ship of Daryl's.
Yes. The ship of Daryl.
So
What does that
everybody
mean?
everybody gets knocked unconscious and brought prisoner on the ship, and there's this captain. I forget what he was, but I remember the rest of the crew were all lycanthropes of some sort.
Okay.
But they didn't have any names because the captain did not find it important enough for them to have any names. So they were
Sure.
all named. Eventually, when they all could uh, had the freedom, they were able to name themselves, and they
Yeah.
all called themselves Daryl.
We freed them all and said, okay, what would you like to be called? And the first one we freed was Were Rat, I think. And they said, I want to be called Daryl. And after we freed everyone else, we said, like, hey, what would you like to be called? And then Daryl was like, yeah, I called myself Daryl. What do you want to be called? And everyone was like, I want that.
Oh
I'll have
God.
that. I'll have that name.
So yeah, so I literally had when all of the people were when all of the player characters were prisoner, all of the magical items that they had got taken away by the
Right.
captain, who then wore them all. And I think he
And
was
that's how you nerfed them?
well. That's how I nerfed them. I ended up giving them better. magical items later that just kind of fit more with their character and were less overpowered.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, because that was like my first.
Yeah, that was your first time making items, I think.
Yeah, but that also reminded me of I had also given you a lot of NPCs. So when the big to make the big bad coming out even worse, they accidentally helped free and like almost a demigod. Actually, technically, he is a demigod, but we won't get into that. But as a consequence of their failure, pretty much 3 ships worth of people, including the ship that they had, were all murdered.
Oh, good.
So that was fun, and
That got into a thing of, hey, he also murdered a child, and my character was a, well,
Yeah.
Dampier stats, but still
Yeah.
blood. What we
Mhm.
call still blood, so vampiric humanoids that are not vampires in like the D&D sense, but have vampiric tendencies and qualities. And so my character basically tried to revive them by turning them into a Dampier as well. But she also doesn't know how the fuck that works. So what she did was turn them into essentially the chiffonary or the Crescentian equivalent of a vampire spawn.
a thrall.
A thrall, thank you.
Mhm.
And that,
Oh, well, you tried your best.
well,
Well, also, what does that character who his name is Almost is actually in one of the earlier episodes of Iridan.
yeah.
Um, what does he have written across his chest? Scarred.
Actions have consequences.
I was a dick.
Unfortunately.
Was.
What?
I kid. I should
I
also
mean-
note, Krista, I am not upset that you wanted to go get bagpipes. That was so fucking funny. I just had no
Thank
idea
you.
what to do.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I guess I just thought I wanted them.
Hey,
That's the thing with sticky situations
it,
is that
they
it
become
makes
memorable.
role play. Yeah, and a really memorable role play. For
The only other
example,
sticky situation that I can think of that I've been in is when I by mistakenly picked up a character by rolling really, really terribly trying to pick up a rock as my same Karen Eldritch Knight. But by mistakenly picked up a character who was, I think, a dwarf.
Yes,
And throwing him at
a
our
dwarf
enemies.
paladin. Yep.
However, that became like a standard move of mine because it worked so well.
It worked so well that at one point I had you all in a siege because you were in the first town that you conquered, and you at one point got a brothel, and you were just like chilling the brothel for
Yep.
like 2 or 3 sessions in a row, and I'm like, okay, I got to get something
We did
going.
acquire a brothel.
Yep.
That's true.
And that itself, I didn't expect for Allie is the character name, to say, yeah, I'm just gonna take this deed now that we've killed the succubus who ran the place.
We did a lot of out-of-pocket things
Yeah.
in that game.
It was fun. I liked it.
I was gonna say, she also was going through like very meticulously because Allie was like very like on the ball, all the time. It was pretty much our leader, if I'm not mistaken.
Basically.
Yeah.
But she was getting stuff in order so that all the different like I don't know correct terms, but all the girls, ladies,
The sex
that
workers.
that she had working at the brothel, they were all also learning something else,
Yeah.
so that they
Trade,
could, like,
yes.
I think one of them was learning carpentry.
Yeah, one of them was like I swear it was to be spies, right?
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure she was
yeah,
gonna make a
some
spy
of them were,
network
but
of
some of
sex
them were
workers.
legitimate trades.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
need other talents, that's all.
Anyway, yeah, the siege. At one point, Krista, your character Karen, which is
Yep.
always going to be funny that you had a character named after your sister.
Sure did. That was a man.
Yep, that was a man. That was Terry Crews and Plate Mail. They, I think, picked up the dwarf and then instead of throwing him because there were so many enemies, just like spun him around real quick, and he just like
Yeah, I
put
did.
his sword out and killed like 4 or 5 of them with
Because
Yeah,
with
he
a
did.
Bird
turn.
had a ring of levitation.
Yep, and technically, I don't. No, actually, yeah, Ring of Levitation doesn't have a weight limit, I don't think, but Huron didn't, even though he was a pack mule himself, didn't
Essentially.
have enough weight for it to not work, or I just, rule of cool, said, yeah, that's fine.
Yep, you're right. I did do that. I forgot about that one.
Yeah, the spinning, that was very fun, and then, like, when I think he was trying to make a moat at one point, and he just took one of his axes out, and I went, well, I think he crit on trying to dig a trench with an axe, and I was like, okay, axes don't really do that well. So what
Right.
you actually have, you didn't realize before, is kind of like Ring of the Ram, which is an actual D&D item, but it was an Axe of the Ram, which had the same properties, but it was also just an axe.
What's a ring of the ram or axe of the ram?
Ring of the Ram, Krethis actually had this, and it's got 3 charges. You can expend a charge to basically attack. I think it's with force damage. I'm gonna look it up real quick. Yeah.
Sure.
So it's a ring that produces like spectral ram's head that makes an attack roll.
Oh, okay.
With it gives a flat +7 bonus to the attack, so it's roll +7. And on a hit for each charge that you spend, because it has 3 charges, the target takes 2d10 force damage and is pushed 5 feet away from you. But because it was an axe, I just
Yeah,
added to the extra damage.
sure.
You can also apparently use it to break an object within 60 feet that's not being worn or carried.
Good to know about.
Yeah. So yeah, that was fun. That was, I think he used that axe, and that's what he did. He just used the rest of his charges to like do
Probably, yeah.
extra damage. Yakub.
It's good that you could like modify his item on the fly too to make it
Yeah.
work for the scenario we were in.
So my DM style is very haphazard sometimes.
Right.
Where I guess kind of not reactive in a negative sense, but like almost in an improv yes and sort of thing where
Right.
I think of something that sounds cool to myself and then I go, okay, yeah, we're doing that. Which
Well,
not
D&D is improv.
Yeah.
So
it's not very good for like people who want rigidity, because sometimes a rule will apply and then the rest of the time I'll forget about that rule. But it's cool to try to make like almost cinematic moments
yeah.
Sure.
Sure.
Where it's very basically just cool moments or badass moments.
I know he was a dwarf and I should picture him as like Gimli, but I picture him as like a lawn gnome with a pointy hat. I don't know why.
I have no idea either. I just pictured him
just
as
is.
as the person playing him, but like
Right.
shorter. Because he
Yeah,
is like 6'2"
sure.
or something. He's like my height.
Right. Not dwarf sized.
Yeah. So that's what I always did. I pictured you as the character usually.
Right.
So picturing you as Terry Crews.
Yeah, that one was different because once we said that you were Terry Crews, I went, okay, yeah, it's Terry Crews now.
Right.
It's no longer Krista. Jacob, do you have any other sticky situations?
I have like the original sticky situation from.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So this
Was
is one that Krista was not a part of. This was our first campaign playing together.
Yeah.
because it was me.
Is it the baby arm one?
No, that one is going to come up in a different breaking character where we talk about probably horror stories.
Horror stories,
Sure.
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Is that what there was a lot of?
We have a lot of horror stories as well.
So, well, that campaign in and of itself had a lot of negatives. There's a lot of stuff that just was not done well with it. But it also has probably one of my favorite moments ever from playing D&D,
And
which is the sticky situation.
yeah, to be fair, this was also her first time DMing, so
For
that
sure.
it's not like her fault. It was rough for a little while, and there were some really weird shenanigans that we went on that
Some of
a
some of
lot
it
of people I think were uncomfortable with.
some of it was, I feel, her fault a little bit, just because some of it felt a little pointed. But we won't get
Yeah,
into that. We'll get
that's
into
fair.
that.
Well, in the horror stories,
We'll
that's
get
fine.
into that with the horror story episode. But we're gonna go with how the sticky situation was dealt with there, because it was dealt with in a very interesting way. And I've talked about this before, but
Yeah.
I haven't told. I don't think I've told the full story. Basically, what it was is there was a character that was in our a player that was in our group who likes to pick up stuff. They would like to add stuff to their inventory. The DM at that time didn't want to keep up with all that stuff because this guy was picking up everything.
Literally went into the woods to pick up some tree bark, and then put that
Yeah,
in his pack.
which is fun. It was funny. It was like it was all lighthearted.
Oh yeah,
Right?
like when we were playing the campaign, it was fun, but looking back on it, that's when we go, well, that was a little uncomfortable, or I we I think we probably could have handled that better.
It was a little cumbersome.
Yeah,
Is the way I would say it was a little cumbersome. It added it added a lot of it took time away from other people is what it did. Is to be honest, it just took time away from other people. Again, everything was all very lighthearted, and it was a fun character. El Fuego del Fuego.
it was something like that. I don't know if that's the exact name.
But in order to kind of deal with this person having all of these items, the DM decided to be a little sneaky and offered our group a bag of holding. So we wouldn't have to worry about encumbrance or anything like that. So we thought this was a great idea. This was awesome.
Yep.
Now, our ranger at this time had the great idea of trying to test out how they could use this bag of holding in order to kind of sneak into places. Basically, if somebody's wearing the bag of holding, everybody gets in the bag of holding and sneaks in like a Trojan horse.
Yeah. So a bit of context: the city that we were in, my character was a noble, or at least they were a paladin, because I'm only a paladin in like any other games, and he was able to get into the noble district, get into and around the castle, and I think we wanted to do something in there, but only I could go. I was not allowed to vouch for anybody. So the plan was everyone to get in the bag of holding. I go in with the bag of holding, and then everyone can come out and make sure that it doesn't take longer than like a few minutes, so that they don't die of not being able to breathe.
So the ranger decides to jump into the bag. Doesn't put their hands on the bag, which is apparently an important thing. Doesn't put their hands on the side of the bag. Just lowers himself into the bag. So this was not a bag of holding. This was a trap. It was a bag of devouring.
Oh.
So the DM was like, "Do you put your hands on it to brace yourself?" And the character said, "No, I'm just going right in." And the DM said, "Okay, well, you're dead."
The rules as written is if someone goes into the bag of holding, if they are holding onto the bag, they can make a strength check. Otherwise, they're pulled into the bag and they are dead, basically.
Yeah,
At
like
least
it
I
was
think that's what it was.
basically the way that it was described is that the character was eaten.
Yeah.
So they go into the bag of devouring and they're eaten, and like the DM, again, no malice or anything here. It was just like I'm sorry, your character's dead, and
Right.
the ranger was to the point of crying.
Oh no. Like
Yeah.
the player.
The
Yeah.
player was at the point of crying because their character, like, they didn't know their character
Yeah.
was going to die. So this is a sticky situation.
Unfortunately, there is no save for it,
Yeah.
basically.
Right.
If you don't like hold on to the bag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I look at the rest of the players and I'm like, they're not dead, they're lost. We need to jump into this bag and we need to go find them. We need to rally together. And I give like a big speech about like how we had to go in, and the DM's like, sure, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, we'll try something. I'll like, there'll be something in the bag.
Yeah. Give me
There'll
5
be
minutes. I
something.
need to figure out what's in the bag.
Yeah, and she said it's going to be strong.
Yep.
And
And
it's going to
people
be
may
purple.
still die. You
Yeah,
all may
and
still die.
yeah, you all may still die. But it was just like that feeling of like everybody rallying together for the ranger, and us all jumping into the bag, and then it ended up in combat. It was all like, it made everybody
And
feel.
did you beat it? Did you die?
One person did end up dying, but it wasn't the ranger.
No.
Oh.
Yeah,
The ranger completely
it was our
died.
cleric, unfortunately.
But yeah, like we all jumped in, and inside the bag was a bone devil, and we fought a bone devil.
At like I think we were level 4 or 5.
Yeah,
There was 5 of us, and like if we didn't kill it that round, we all would have been wiped. I think, but
Wow.
yeah, like I was trying to tank as much as possible. The cleric was trying to heal as everyone who was getting hit by this thing.
Right.
Unfortunately, someone went down and they ran over to cast. They didn't have any healing spells anymore, so I think it was El Fuego. Either that or it was Jacob's character,
I think it was.
and they fell down or they went unconscious and were about to start making death saves, and so their character ran over to try to cast whatever that cantrip is that lets you stabilize a creature. Yeah, spare the dying.
Spare the dying.
So she let him get it off, but then had the Bone Devil attack, and the attack. I don't know if it would crit or if they were just on very, very low hit points because everyone was on very, very
Right.
low hit points. I'm pretty sure I went through like 1.5 or 2.5 times my max health because I just kept healing myself for this. But
Right.
yeah, the cleric went down, unfortunately, with that, and they didn't make their saves because no one else had healing, and it was like, okay, we can try to save you, or we can try to not die, and so we tried to
Right.
like burn the creature, burn the bone devil down.
That's rough.
Yeah,
That
it
is
was
a
a
really cool
very
situation.
it was a sticky situation that turned into like the biggest like a very good rallying cry for Jacob, and turned into a very fun and very, very memorable fight.
Yeah, it was like I said, it was probably the most. It's definitely the most memorable thing from, or positive memorable thing from that game.
Yeah, I guess there is another thing that will be mentioned later.
Multiple things, trust me, multiple things. Like I said, it's one of those moments where that campaign, the way that certain parts of it were handled, like, I'm not going to go too deep into it, but there are definitely points where I almost felt like I was getting bullied a little bit, or like kind of pointed out because I was kind of like an outsider to the friend group at that point.
You were there because you were my best friend.
Exactly. I was there because I was your friend, and everybody else was there because they were. It was like a pre-established friend group, right? So I was kind of like the odd person out. Not that I don't love the people that we played with. Like it made very good friendships, but there was a couple parts that just didn't sit well with me. I guess is the way I would say it. There's stuff like that in a lot of campaigns. Because I know that wasn't the only one. I know when we started with the campaign at your house, I know that almost did not get off the ground because of certain people.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
that is, I guess, probably for the horror stories as well. Not that it turned into more of a stressful situation for myself than a horror story, but it
I,
just
I mean, yeah.
yeah.
This sounds like gossip I don't know about.
We'll talk.
No,
We'll
you,
tell
you
you about
know,
it
you
after.
know about this.
No, I know, that's fine. I just
Um, but like,
interesting.
yeah, it was just like that. That moment is probably one of my. It's like a core memory, especially when it comes to D&D, and it's probably what had me stick with it for a while.
Yeah,
Just that heroic action of everybody rallying together and the DM being like, you know what, go for it. It not just yes and, um, but also the no but. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Because I think that's an important thing, probably the thing we should learn from the sticky situations is everybody says improv is all yes and. But when it comes to the D&D table, there are definitely points where you have to say no, but and then offer something else, right? So I think
yeah,
that's an important thing there, especially when it comes to the sticky situations where they're mostly learning moments. I guess that's the best way to put it. They're learning moments.
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, they're an opportunity too.
yeah.
Exactly.
An opportunity for either character development or story development or something fun and unifying.
Hmm.
Or a joke like Aaron flipping the coin and turning all the witch hunters into slugs.
Yeah.
That put me in a
Yes.
sticky situation. I literally had to. The one time I planned an encounter, I literally had to wing.
Yeah.
Well,
Oops.
yep.
Yeah. That's the
Yep.
situation we put you into. Another
Yeah.
sticky situation. This is being recorded the day that the spire slash
The
mirror slash
shattered face.
whatever got shattered, and everyone like that episode got posted today.
Yeah.
We're recording it on that day, and that was probably a sticky situation for you because you didn't expect Brett to punch the obsidian and
Mirrors.
break it.
Yep.
Yeah,
That also is going to lead to another
yeah.
episode that
Retcons.
there's another episode that we need to make for breaking character. Because we want to name them after like spells or aspects of the game.
Yeah.
But that episode is going to be called Modify Memory because we're going to go over the retcons that I had
Uh,
to make because I was stupid and I made a mistake or for accidentally described something incorrectly. But with the mirror, it
yeah.
started as a mirror.
Yeah.
Then it became a piece. Then it became a chunk. Uh,
A
it's
chunk or a
always
tablet or
been
something.
chunk or tablet. Yeah, it's always been a piece of the obsidian spire. Um, but then it's a mirror again when I start referring to it again after.
Yeah. At one point, when you were talking about it being a mirror, I was picturing it as a shield. Like my entire perception of it was wrong anyway.
Yeah. Um, but no, like that situation there, like him punching that. That wasn't a sticky situation as it kind of seemed. I was like, I was able to kind of slide something in there.
Yeah, you did
And
say in the
then
episode like this does give me an opportunity to bring something in that I wanted to bring in for a while now, which
it,
was
it,
the canopic jars and all the stuff with Gazarid.
Yeah, let me put a jar in there, which is important.
Yep.
And then that led to a bottle episode. And like I said earlier, I know it's my favorite trope. I know that I probably end up using it a little bit too often with these bottle episodes, but I think they're fun and I think everybody really enjoys them. So, if you don't like it, you can fuck off and I'm gonna leave.
Okay, so for reference, we were just talking about the 44 rules last night.
Yeah.
A DM came to their players with 44 rules, and about half of them was, if you don't like it, you can fuck off and leave at the end of each rule.
You rule 45, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
there will,
wild.
there will be bottle episodes, whether you like it or not. we're gonna dive into your mind and your psyche. I don't care what you think.
That's fine. I overuse the dream aspect for a lot of my stuff.
I do too.
So like a lot of the one shot like bottle episodes that I would make tend to be more of a dream-esque thing.
Yeah.
All the stuff with your character in the first campaign, Darius, once they like started making pacts with Vecna, all of that, like every session I was trying to think of a new dream to give your character, like as they dreamt, here's what you're dreaming and here's how they're trying to like warp your perception and try to turn you against your own party. And it we didn't end up going with that for a whole lot of time. Mostly because that only kind of happened in the second arc when I put you literally into hell.
Yeah.
Yep, that was a fun one. But yeah, anyway.
One more thing before we're done.
All right.
I formally want to welcome Wade into our dysfunctional family.
All we do is talk about random things and get off topic. So if you be prepared for that, I guess.
Or you can
Oh, go ahead.
No, I just said, or you can just leave.
Or you fuck off and leave.
Yeah, exactly. Or I'll just pack up my shit and go.
I was gonna say it sounds like I've been like preparing for this my whole life. Random tangents that mean nothing.
Tangents, references that we pretend that we're going to cut out, but we still put in.
Yeah, that's one of the things I'm going to cover in the retcon episode.
Yeah,
is how we keep saying that you're the person editing the episode.
For the longest time, I was going to be the one to do it, but then I got really busy, and Jacob decided no. And if we're going to get this all out, I'm going to do it.
Yeah. So
thank you to Jacob for actually editing all of these. I think I might still edit the breaking character ones just to get some of the workload off of you.
For sure.
And for sure I'm gonna do the B team.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like, just so you're aware of what you're in for, we definitely spent 5+ minutes in one episode talking about Spy Kids.
That's right. That was a recent episode too that we posted.
We just talked about Spy Kids.
Yeah. I want to say that it started with a comment of the comment that like that quote from Steve Buscemi's character.
Yes, that is exactly how it started.
Okay.
But
Spy Kids is surprisingly deep.
It was very good for its time. Now the CGI and all that is god awful compared to what we've got now.
Sure.
But this was also early 2000s when CGI was still.
You know what else came out in the early 2000s?
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the fucking Rings.
Yeah, but if you remember, Lord of the Rings didn't have a whole lot of CGI. The biggest CGI thing was Gollum, though, and that did look very good.
The Balrog.
Oh yeah, that would be. Yep. I forgot about the Balrog. Sorry.
We're just gonna bring up the Balrog every time. It's the only point I need.
But yeah, like a lot of the quote unquote CGI things
We're
were just
practical.
tricks of the camera. So
I'm fairly certain we said we weren't going to talk about Lord of the Rings in our podcast anymore.
When did we make that rule?
now that's
Fucking
going to
long
be in the
way.
retcon episode.
Well, I don't know where to quote that we talked about it, but
I
I'm
have no
fairly
idea.
certain that we talked about not talking about Lord of the Rings anymore.
I don't know why you guys would make such a ridiculous promise that you can't keep.
Oh dear. No, but
Is
yeah,
anyone still
you
listening? Maybe.
Listening, like the four of us?
No, like the
Uh,
people who
Probably not.
may be consuming this.
I wouldn't imagine.
But yeah, this is
okay?
like the
Well,
first 10, 20 minutes of every session is us just talking about random stuff.
you know what? We'll stop the recording in a minute, but just to make it worth listening through all this bullshit,
Okay.
like not just the episode, but also the tangent that we went on, I'm gonna put an extra, very tasty tidbit at the end of this. So this is gonna be a surprise for all of you.
Oh God.
Not just you guys, but the people at home. The first book of the index, which is the project that I've been working on for the past couple of years, um, where we have all of our homebrew classes like Justin,
Both of
Dragon
my
Pack,
classes
yep, Dragon Pack Warlock,
and
the
Oath of Blood Paladin.
Blood Paladin, and a bunch other. There's actually 4 subclasses for every class. There's a new class called the Elementalist. There's new feats, new backgrounds, and this is just the first of 5 indexes that I currently have planned that are all part of one book. They were originally going to be one book, but it literally got too big.
Yeah, and I've been trying to convince you to be like, okay, I think we can, with the amount of like feats that you wanted to put in, I think we can make it its own like book with you had like 100 or 200 of them or something.
Oh yeah, no, I've kind of lost stuff out, and I'm gonna maybe put it in later books or whatever. Right? I've
Okay,
kept
okay.
it so I know the thing, but yeah. So basically, for sure, 5 books right now that I'll make a cycle called the Index, and the little tidbit that I'm going to put here is that very soon after we post this, which should probably be a couple months after we record it, I'm going to host an open beta for it. So
Ooh.
if people
Nice.
want to play test it, people will be able to play test it, put their feedback in, and be part of the next edit. Because I am to the point where I'm about done my current draft. The next draft is gonna be for the beta, which is just an
Nice.
SRD uh, draft. So I'm kind of waiting. I'm kind of waiting on that. I guess that's the thing I'm waiting for is the SRD to be updated.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed that when the SRD does get updated, we're allowed to do homebrew for artificers because I did make an artificer subclass. But if we can't
Yeah.
use it, we can't use it.
Yeah. If we can't use it, then we'll just have it wait until the D&D SRD is updated to allow us to do that.
That's what I'm going to leave you guys with. That's my big news for that. Anyways, I'm going to go pump myself up with enough drugs to kill an elephant.
Okay,
And try to get better.
let's not have people call wellness on you.
Legal cold meds.
Okay.
I'm trying to get better.
All right. I hope everyone enjoyed this, and we will see you later.
I will see you later, or I will see you at another time.
Yeah.